Injury-wise, your DMPs for today is Alvin with the ankle, Ike with the hamstring. The limited guys would be Olave with the hip, Alante with the knee, and then John Ridgway's full with the shoulder coming off of injured reserve there. So those will be the injury report, and other than that, I'll open it up.
Well, is having Alvin limited or out on Wednesday is going to be his normal schedule going forward?
I don't think it'll be normal per se for like an entire season, but obviously, he's just doing some maintenance stuff. And so obviously last week kind of had a similar plan a little bit. And so, we'll navigate this thing with him. And so he'll be in good position.
That suggests, you're suggesting it's a similar severity as last week? It didn't get worse?
No.
We talked about how so many of these games have been one-score games at the end, and you just haven't gotten over the hump. What are the different ways you can address that? Because it might just be one play in any phase that can make a difference. How do you approach trying to make that happen?
Yeah, I think you got to acknowledge we're right there. We do have the opportunities. You got to start with having opportunities to compete and to win games at the end of the game. And so then it comes down to the specifics and the details. It's fundamentals, it's techniques, it's execution. From my standpoint, always trying to figure out, from a game management standpoint or from a schematic standpoint, are we giving ourselves the best opportunity? Is there another way to navigate this? And so I think everyone's embracing that. We can all keep growing and keep finding better opportunities to move forward and make the plays or take advantage of the opportunity that's presented. So,
notice in the game you ran kind of a traditional sneak rather than a tush push. Is that something you kind of decided in the game planning ahead of time?
Yeah, you can do either. Obviously, by game plan, it kind of varies from game to game, and so. You also have to be conscious of just, the way that play has been policed necessarily, the last few weeks. And so, we did feel like there was an opportunity there to run a more traditional sneak. And so it worked out well.
So the officiating maybe being a little tighter on it, that's a fact. You
just got to be aware of it. Yeah, you just got to be aware of that. And so, by no means is it, gone forever or anything like that. Week to week, you kind of present short yardage, see what the opportunities present themselves, what advantages there may be. And so we'll see what happens.
What do you think the challenge has been for you guys on like 3rd and 8 and longer? I know you mentioned that one with Spokes, but just in general, what's been so tough about that situation?
Yeah, we obviously haven't taken advantage of those, and those are challenging situations. The numbers are down, but we got to at least convert on a few of these. And so, I think there's a couple different ways you can go. There's obviously the plays where we got to protect it a little bit longer, give ourselves the opportunities to get past the sticks. At the same time, there are opportunities where there's catch and run, chances. And so we got to play the fine line between those two philosophies. Every week's a different challenge, and we just got to take advantage of a few more.
When you've been studying Caleb, is it noticeable to see how much he's improved under Ben Johnson? Is that noticeable when you watch him in New Zealand?
Yeah, he's doing a really good job. I think when you watch it, second year tends to be a big jump. We always call it the sophomore jump or whatever you want to call it, second year jump in the NFL. And so you can tell he's just so much more comfortable. Ben's doing an awesome job of giving him different tools, and they do a great job of schematically getting to the best calls in some situations. And so you can tell there's a comfort level there. There's an anticipation that certainly is growing from his standpoint. And in his back pocket, he always has the playmaking ability that he's always had going back to college. And so it's a really challenging thing because you can feel like maybe you cover something up and he's going to make a play out of it, and then he's doing a much better job as he's gotten more experience of just playing the original play really well.
When you were evaluating that 24 quarterback class, you got Spencer's in that one, you got Caleb, you got Drake May, Jaden Daniels. What did you think of that group when they were coming out? Was it played out like you thought?
It certainly was a really talented group. And so I was in Philly that year, 2 years ago, and so we're in a little different situation. So I didn't get to get the depth of the evaluation. I evaluated purely off of film. Really talented group, and a group that could certainly see a lot of these guys contributing in a lot of fashion around the league. And so the high picks, they're kind of playing the way you anticipated them playing. They're growing, and they go through different experiences in their first year, and then the second year you can tell all three of them I think are playing at a really high level, and the depth of that class is starting to show up. Spence is doing a really good job, and really proud of the way he's continued to grow each and every week.
Now that you've studied the Bears a bit more, are you seeing new wrinkles with Dennis Allen's scheme?
Every place is going to be a little bit different just because, you're going to have a foundation from a systematic approach, and then you're going to, evaluate your roster and kind of make the adjustments necessary. I think, the biggest thing is their defense is playing fast, physical. They're playing obviously with a lot of confidence. The turnover thing is real. It seems like, every year there's a couple of these teams that just, they're making them happen each and every week. And so certainly they're on that trend line. They're doing a great job of attacking the football. They had 3 this past game. You can argue they had 3 more opportunities that they could have gotten as well. And so, they're playing a very confident brand of football on that side of the football right now.
There was a report over the weekend that Mickey went to Alvin to ask basically if he wanted to stay here long term. Alvin gave his commitment. With the trade deadline, what's kind of your role in that? Are you checking with players to see if they want to be here long term as it approaches? Like, how do you handle that?
Certainly my main goal is to, take care of the players, but also, be as successful as we can each and every Sunday. And so that's really my focus. I certainly care about these players as people. That's a really important aspect of this thing for me. As far as that part is, I allow Mickey to kind of roll with that and, defer to him in a lot of those situations. And certainly we'll have conversations as we go, but we love this group. It's a bunch of really good people. We got the right people in the room. Love these guys. I want these guys to be really successful here, first and foremost.
Do you think Alvin, like his philosophy with that and his loyalty and his love for the team, organization, how much of a positive effect do you think that can have on the other players and really everyone else in the building?
Yeah, just speaking from my experience with Alvin, Alvin's a phenomenal player, phenomenal person. He represents so much of what we want to be, and he's represented this community really, really well. And so, we love having him here. We love having, I'm excited for his opportunities to keep growing this year. We'll keep getting opportunities. He deserves them. He's earned them. He's had a huge impact on this organization for a really long time, and we look forward to him having that impact moving forward for a while as well.
Kellen, when you evaluate the quarterback, you got your data points over here, and there's winning also. How do you weigh those 2 things together? How much does getting a win matter? How do you weigh that into kind of the evaluation?
Yeah, that's a fun, healthy conversation. That's certainly a good conversation, I think. You got to trust. Ultimately, our job is to win games, and we got to win games. And I know that. Spence knows that. We all know that. But as you go through the process, you really got to hone in on the details of it, the details, the opportunities that you're presented, and are you taking advantage of those opportunities? And so what I do see is, playing a lot of really successful football, a lot of clean football. We do have some small margins that we can grow in some situational football in particular. All these QBs go on different paths, different journeys in this league. I think that's the cool example of this. If anything, this year's, I think, emphasizing the journeys that all these quarterbacks take are all different. The guys that have gone to their second or third stop that are having success, the guys that were in last year's class that are kind of having that big bounce this year. Obviously there's plenty of the crafty vets who've been doing it, like Matthew and Dak and these guys for a long time. And so all these guys are on different journeys, different paths, and it's about growth and taking advantage of opportunities.
Spencer's history with Caleb and what happened at Oklahoma, how do you think shaped Spencer in terms of going through that adversity? Did you see a positive effect with it? Have you ever talked to him about it?
We really haven't talked about it. So I didn't, it'd be unfair for me to even really comment about the context of what happened there. All I know is Spence is a resilient person, resilient player. Again, I think, if you look at our quarterback room, you'll recognize a trend. A bunch of guys who faced adversity and had to have some resiliency in their life, navigating some things. Certainly in college, all of our guys kind of had to go through a challenging aspect there. And so I respect that out of people. I have a ton of appreciation because that's what ultimately playing quarterback in this league's about is we got to win. We got to go be successful. But every game, every week, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be obstacles you got to be able to navigate. And so, that's certainly a superpower of Spencer's, in my opinion.
Do you, obviously coach in different places, and I know people move around and it's a nomadic business, but when you went back to Dallas for the first time, was there extra juice or motivation? And do you understand maybe that could be for Dennis and even for the players in some capacity here, for this game?
Yeah, no doubt. We all have these kind of reunion games, so to speak, or, fall back to our past experiences and you play, common places, common opponents, common people. You have a love and appreciation for people. A lot of guys got drafted here because of Dennis, and so there's an appreciation for that. And Dennis has done a lot of good here, and so there's that element of there's going to be a lot of appreciation to see Dennis on the other side of the field. I have a ton of respect for him. Like we said, we've compete against each other a bunch of years over the years. It seemed like whether I was in Dallas or wherever, we always played New Orleans. And so, I think it'll be a great experience for those guys. Obviously, you're always excited to have that opportunity, if you go somewhere else to coach. And so it'll be a fun opportunity for everyone.
The common parlance would be revenge game. You prefer the term reunion game? Is that?
Yeah. Pick your noun, adjective. I don't really care. So.
Is that something that you talk to, the guys about at all, like the reunion with Dennis and whatever? Because you obviously mentioned all of it from your perspective. Do you talk to the guys that maybe have, big relationships with him and whatnot beforehand?
We haven't. No, it's not really been a topic about, from a team perspective or anything. These things happen a lot in this league. They truly do. Between the players, between the coaches, every week you're playing someone that you're, friends with or you've worked with or whatever it may be.
When you mentioned the turnovers earlier.
Yeah.
When you think of a Dennis Allen defense, what are some of the hallmarks of his defenses?
Yeah, I think play style, they're fast, they're physical, they play with confidence, they got the swagger going, they stop the run, they create turnovers. And when they put you in third down, obvious passing situations on third down, the pressure's alive, and so you got to do a really good job planning and preparing yourself. And then you got to understand that there's going to be some good moments, there's going to be some challenging moments in every game, just because they're going to be able to make plays.
We're doing a story about why quarterbacks do or don't wear the play sheet on their wrist. Why did you all decide to do that with Spencer? Kind of how was it helpful?
Really good question. So last year was my first time. I did it as a player going back all the way to college. Now, college, you don't have the headset and all that sort of stuff, so it's a little bit different dynamics. We never did it anywhere else I'd ever been. When we went to Philadelphia, that was the first time I had exposure with it. And I felt like there was some value to it, being able to speed up just the communication process, being able to give him a wristband number as opposed to reading the whole play out once or twice to him and then having him echo that play. I think it's helped us speed up the process a little bit. Sometimes, as much as I don't want it, sometimes some plays get a little long, a little wordy, and maybe there's some criteria in there about a potential adjustment to the play, and so he's able to see all that on that sheet. And so we don't do it for every play. It's just kind of select plays, handful of plays, and so I think it's helped us just speed up the process.
There's some teams that don't do it because they're concerned the wristband might get lost, or is that for a concern for you?
We have not had that experience, but yeah, there's some experience like that, and there's some quarterbacks who really don't want to do it, and so everyone's a little bit different. I get it, but it's worked really well for us.
Do the plays on the band change week to week?
Yeah, it's based off the game plan.
Would you like to see Spencer take more risk because he can execute?
Spencer's doing a really good job. We got to create some more explosives. That's a lot of different ways, not just chucking it deep. So we'll get him to try and, we'll have some opportunities downfield, but explosives come in a lot of different fashions. They can come in runs, quick screens, quick game, and then break a tackle, and you got everyone else blocking for you. And so we'll just keep working that way.
You mentioned a few times some quarterbacks that have kind of had second life. What do you attribute that to? Why they might not work early on? Or is it just experience, or is it fit, a little both? Or guys like Geno Smith or
No, I think it's a really healthy discussion. I think it's really cool that our league's kind of recognizing it. I think there's a lot more conversations about these guys. There's timing and being in the right environment, and the timing thing is real. Being in the right situation that kind of matches you systematically, who you're around. And you got to be built up kind of over the course of time. I think a lot of these young guys, we throw them out there really fast, and we decide yes or no within a handful of games, and then we move on and try and find the next thing. And so these guys get to continue to grow each and every way. And if anything's taught us, I think, over the last couple of years in our league, is that these quarterbacks, they're 23, 24, whatever they are when they come in. These guys all play into their 30s, and they have tremendous careers as they just continue to progress. And so, there's too many guys that we can speak of and create a storyline about these guys. And I think Spence is, following some of that trend line as far as just getting better and taking advantage of these opportunities.
The tush push versus the just regular sneak, is that, do you think it's kind of at the point of the cycle where teams might start moving away from it, whether it's officiating, whether teams are adjusting? I'm just from a broader perspective, how much do you have to adjust your foundations based on the trend goes that, hey, this is my offense and that's what it is?
Yeah, the sneak thing, everyone's got a different way of approaching it. There's a lot of different ways. it's truly a trend. It's going to go back and forth. Teams are going to push it still. Some teams may not push it. It may be week to week. Again, we've navigated it from week to week so far, and so we'll continue to do that. And then as far as just trends in general, I think that's an important thing. You're always trying to evaluate the league. What can we continue to improve on? What can we maybe expand on? Get ahead of some of these trends. And then there's always different styles and different ways, whether it may be, the way a certain play is being officiated moving forward, or, the way teams have adjusted to a certain formation or play. And so I think that's the fun part of this thing. You're just continuing to try and evolve each and every week. And so we all have foundations. We all have things we believe in, core values, but you got to be able to move off the spot and continue to grow each time.